Uh, Good evening, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back. Today is May the 14th, 2022. So I always appreciate your presence and your comment, and I also appreciate you liking my video, sharing my video, and subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much. So I will share. I will start with the global Oromo protest going on now. One already started, I think, in Minnesota already. Minnesota and Washington D.C. More is coming around the world: Canada, Australia, Norway. So this is a plan. It's long overdue. It's not like strong like TDF supporters. I already said that the Tigray supporters, they are constantly coming to the street, coming to the media, and expressing their voice uh, and speaking for those voiceless, for the victims. So the Oromo, you know, uh, they are doing good, but it's not enough push. It's not enough energy behind, just like TDF, to expose what Abiy Ahmed is doing against Oromos, civilians every day, and on the ongoing total war happening in Oromia region. So we need more strong voice, and we need to support freedom fighters with everything we can, and also be the voice for the voiceless, and share the news, expose what is happening in Oromia to the global communities. So I will start with that one. Also, I have Oromo Federalist Congress press statement on the current situation in Ethiopia, especially in Oromia. Also, the Amhara region security issue. The war is coming back again between TDF and Amhara region. Is already ongoing. There is also statement on that one, plus some other Somalia election and the danger about nuclear power, plus other news. Thank you again for coming back. Let's listen to the Oromo protesters in Minnesota, and continue to other news. Okay. Ethiopia doesn't have space for Oromos, have no space in Oromos. So he's using the phrase used by late Oromo artist Hachalu Hundessa, Oromo Jirtu. Okay, some advertisements coming in.
About those with great power. military! Ethiopian military! Ethiopian military! Ethiopian military! Get back to your camp! Get back to your camp! Go back to your camp! Free Oromia! Free Oromia! Free Oromia! Free! Free! All! Oromo! Political leaders! Free! All! Oromo! Political leaders! Political leaders! Free! Free! All leaders! No justice in Oromia! No justice in Oromia! No peace in Ethiopia! No peace in Ethiopia! No justice in Oromia! No justice in Oromia! No peace in Ethiopia! No peace in Ethiopia! Stop! 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 Oromo's genocide! Oromo's genocide! Stop! 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 Oromo's genocide! Oromo's genocide! We demand! We demand! We demand! We demand! We
Jistu
demand!
daawwattoota Oromiyaa miidiyaa neetwoorkii kan argamnu as Minneapolis, Minnesotaatti argamna. Minneapolis, Minnesota magaalaa adda addaa irraa kan walitti bahan Oromoonni bakka adda addaa irraa dhufan ajjeechaa fi sanyii duguggaa Oromiyaa irratti raawwachaa jiru ilaalchisee hiriira adeemsifamaa jiru. Hiriirri amma eegalamaa jira. Egaa ajjeechaan Oromiyaa keessa godinaalee adda addaa keessatti godhamaa jiru ilaalchisee dhaadannoo adda addaa qabatanii akka argaa jirtan no rule of law in Ethiopia, seera malee namoonni ajjeefamaa jiru, seera malee namoonni qabamanii bakka adda addaatti hidhamaa jiru, seera malee namoota yookaan qotee Oromoo gubachaa jira. Kanaaf kan kana fakkaatan ilaalchisuun Oromoonni Minnesotatti argaman ammaan tanarraa eegalanii as downtown Minneapolis government centeritti argamuun hiriira jechuu eegalanii jiru. Asirraa ka'ameeti bakkeewwan adda addaa deemuudhaaf karoorri qabamee jira. Karoorama qabame kanaan government center irraa ka'uudhaan miidiyaa WCCO hanga gahutti miilaan sagalee dhageessisaa akka adeemanidha. Sagantaa irraa hubachuun kan danda'ame Oromoonni bakka adda addaa irraa hiriira kana atteendi gochuudhaaf yookaan hiriira kana dhaqqabachuudhaaf dhufaa jirtan ammaan kana kan argamu galma bulchiinsa Minneapolis yookaan government center akka ta'e jettanii daddaffiidhaan iddoo kanatti akka argamtan waamichi ni dhiyaataa jira. Hiriirichi itti fufaa. Hiriirichi har'a ganama Washington DC'tti boru magaalaalee Jarman magaalaa Nuremberg keessatti akkasuma bakkeewwan adda addaatti hiriirichi akka adeemsifamu koreen qopheessituu hiriiraa beeksisee jira. Kana beekuudhaan marti keessanii magaalaawwanii fi biyyoota hiriirichi itti waamame keessatti argamtanii uummata keessanii sagalee akka taatan isin jedhu koreen qopheessituu hiriiraa yookaan waldaaleen Oromoo gama adda addaatiin hiriira kana qindeessaa jira jechuudha.
Okay, just explaining a little bit about what is happening. This is a protest happening in Little Oromia, in Minnesota, and they're in around the government center. They are planning to go to different marching to different locations after they came together from this center, government center area. So that's if you need more video or continue watching this, you can get it from Oromia Media Network. So I will stop here. Okay, I will come to the other videos at the end. So this is a protest against what is happening in Oromia. I will repeat some of the expressions mentioned by protester. Free our political leaders, stop the war, stop terrorizing Oromos. Abiy Ahmed must go. This is a famous phrase, repeatedly expressed in different protests. Fano is a terrorist. Fano is a terrorist. Fano is an armed group in Amhara region, out of control. Stop genocidal war on Oromos. Fano Eritrean military must leave Oromia. Ethiopian military must go back to its camp. No justice in Oromia, no peace in Ethiopia. So these are some of the expressions, the mottos expressed in this grand rally happening in Minnesota, already happening also in Washington D.C., Germany. Is intended globally, so more is coming in different parts of the world. Australia, as I said, Norway, Canada, and different parts of European countries. So it's it's uh, it's overdue. It's supposed to happen when the war was declared, and before that they did, but in an intensified war, in this the war which is killing so many civilians in the name of eliminating Onek Shene. So we have to continue stand up against this war and for justice, peace, and stability in Oromia and Ethiopia. So we have to continue raising our voice, do whatever we can to stop this, terrorist regime, a failed regime in Ethiopia, which is led by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Now, the war is going on, I hope it will end uh, very soon. So many civilians are the victim of this war. Thank you again. So if you want to watch the full video, you can go to Oromo Media Network or other channels. Let's read a couple of other news and come back to the video and finish today's presentation. This is Amhara state calls region security to ready for attack by Tigrayan forces, respond to growing lawlessness proliferation in the region. Lawlessness arms proliferation in the region. The Security Council of Amhara regional states said it has reviewed the peace and the security situation in the region and called on the security structure and the people of the region to stand ready to defend against military attacks by Tigrayan forces, whom the council said have declared a second war, as well as prevent the rising prevalence of lawlessness, proliferation of illegal arms, organized and unorganized armed groups, which the Council said were threatening region's peace and security and weakening the regional state. The Council said a direction has been put in place for the regional state security structure at all levels and called on the youth, the rural and urban residents to join the region's security in every step to maintain the peace and the security and strengthening internal unity. The Council's call came in the midst of unconfirmed reports of renewed clashes in area in and around western Tigray, which is currently under the Amhara region administration, as well as area bordering Tigray and Eritrea, including Rama, located in central zone of Tigray state. The reports are disputed by Tigrayan authorities. Getachew Radda, advisor to the president of the Tigray and the TPLF executive committee member, denied the reports about ongoing military engagement with our forces, but said that there has been several instances of indiscriminate shelling on civilians in parts of Tigray by Eritrean, of course. Earlier, a report by Wazema Radio on 12 May quoted Tigray leaders Debretsion Gebre Michael as saying that the people of Tigray should prepare for the final phase of the struggle. Debretsion told attendees of town hall meetings in the region this week that efforts to resolve the crisis through diplomacy have failed. Subsequently, media owned and affiliated to the ruling Prosperity Party as well as regional and public media have fielded reports of preparation for renewed attack by the Tigrayan forces. The Amhara State Security Council said it has reviewed the peace and the security situation in the region and said the TPLF declared war on the Amhara region, inciting the people of Tigray to fight. Similarly, Colonel Demek Ezeudu, leader of the Welkite Identity Committee and who is currently in charge of Western Tigray, far after Amhara forces control the area in November 2020, called on all people in the region, as well as the federal and the regional government, to defend the area against attack by Tigrayan forces, whom he said were ready to launch military offensive on Wolkite Tagade, a reference to Western Tigray. There should be proportional readiness. The enemy has finalized its preparations and it is on standby, beating the war drum. That is what necessitated the Welkite Identity Committee to make this call, Colonel Demek said, adding the issue should be given proper attention both by federal and the regional government, most importantly the people who should stand by the government. On the prevalence of lawlessness and arms proliferation. Besides calling on the regional security structure, all levels to be ready to defend against attack by Tigrayan forces, the latest call by Amhara State Security Council discussed at length what it said were factors reinforcing the weakening of law enforcement as the key issue highlighted in public discussion at all levels. The Council said that recent public discussions pointed out in detail the rising security threats posed by the growing number of organized and unorganized forces that are working to weaken Amhara's internal unity and create a favorable environment for the enemy. It has been concluded that these factors that are trying to weaken the internal unity of Amhara by dividing our people religiously, politically, and ethnically could have lasting damage to the peace and the security of the people and our region, the Council said without mentioning names. Furthermore, the Council blamed the same forces for the prevalence of shortage of local products, promotion of illegal trade, the rising cost of living, smuggling goods, and plundering of public resources in the regional state, which is also aggravating restriction the free movement of citizens, and said that it was posing a growing threat to the region's security. Moreover, the proliferation of illegal weapons in various parts of the region is threatening to peace and the security of the region. It also decried that lives of innocent people were being lost by indiscriminate firing of weapons and ammunition, both to test weapons and at public ceremonies, including weddings and funerals. The Council emphasized that as illegally and lawlessness continue to prevail, the region's development is being undermined by activities of those illegally armed who are restricting the free movement of citizens, closing down investment opportunities, destroying job opportunities, hampering future development, and challenging the development of the Amhara region as a whole. The council also said that if these illegal activities, both in urban and rural areas in the regional state, cannot be rectified in a short period of time, the region will become a hotbed of lawlessness and disorder. Added to the assessment of the council is the possibility of security and a humanitarian crisis if the people displaced by the war do not receive adequate food and return to their villages. In this regard, the council said the regional government accepted the issue of concern raised by the people at various discussions and believes it has to ensure the peace and the security of the people by enforcing the rule of law at all levels. Therefore, a direction is outlined for the regional security structure at all levels to maintain the peace and the security of the region. So, peace and security of the region and the reverse and prevent the renewed attack by the Tigrayan forces. So credit for this at this standard. So this is a claim by Amhara Security Council. Tigrayan forces started the attack. So there is no independent report to verify this. So that's the Amhara claim. According to some news resources, already the engagement is started. So we might see the second devastating war between Amhara and the Tigray forces or Tigray people. So this is from Oromo Federalist Congress. OFC says political failure, civil war, and economic crisis vicious circle haunting Ethiopia, calls for cessation of hostilities and genuine national dialogue. The opposition Oromo Federalist Congress (OFC) said Ethiopia is being haunted by the vicious cycle of political failure, civil war, and economic crisis, and called for cessation of hostilities and a genuine national dialogue that would bring an end to the conflict and lead to political transformation of the country. At a press conference, the leadership of the party gave to the media in the capital Addis Ababa, the party said that the civil war that is still going on various parts of the country for more than a year and a half has resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands, displacement of millions, and the destruction of property worth hundreds of billions of birr. It has led the country to the brink of total collapse. The Tigray, Amhara, Afar, Oromia, and the Benishangul Gumuz regions are the main victims of the war, and all regions of the country are suffering as a result. According to the party, more than 297 civilians have been killed by government forces in the ongoing civil war in Oromia, which OFC said was hidden from the eyes of the world and has already led to the displacement of more than 500,000 people, burning of homes, and renewed hundreds of schools, hospitals, and health centers non-functional. The combined crises Ethiopia is facing today are directly inextricably inextricably related, OFC said. And the solution also lies in stopping the war and bringing our problems to the political negotiating table, while emphasizing the need for inclusive dialogue. OFC said what is currently going on in the name of national dialogue is a mockery to the process, a dangerous step that would further complicate existing problems. Neither the Commission nor its process are independent and inclusive. The party said national dialogue cannot be conducted in the middle of a civil war and called on the government to have cessation of hostilities and bring the matter to the political negotiating table and ease the suffering of our people. So that is just a short summary, but it's a 2-page long press statement detailing what is happening in Oromia and other regions, especially at this time in Oromia, about the civilian days, about the ongoing or planned national dialogue, which is the government is supported and refuse openness and inclusiveness of the dialogue. So they just decide, Prosperity Party decide to continue with this national dialogue. It's meaningless and it will not raise serious problem the country is facing. So it's a mockery, as it said. So if you are interested, you can get this from Addis Standard, the full report of Oromo Federalist Congress press release, details of how many people died, what happened, how many people displaced. So this is from Ethiopia Human Rights Commission, just confirming what is OFECO is saying. Ethiopian Human Rights Commission EHRC told lawmakers to pay special attention to the increasing level of human rights abuses in Ethiopia, including extrajudicial killings, excessive use of force, random detentions, including extended detentions without due process by the court of law, as well as detention targeting journalists and opposition politicians. The Commission also said that treatment of detainees in some detention facilities were becoming increasingly concerning. Ethiopia Human Rights Commission called upon the members of the Justice and the Democracy Standing Committee of House of People's Representatives to closely monitor government executives and officials at various levels to uphold human rights and ensure accountability. The Commission said this on 10 May while presenting the 10 months performance report of its 5-year strategic plan to the Standing Committee. Among the details mentioned in Commission's report covering the last 10 months are its monitoring and inspection operation, which covers 65 conflict-affected areas, surveyed 10 refugee camps, sheltering 430,000 displaced civilians in the last 3 months alone, and visits to 47 temporary shelters and host communities accommodating about 1.5 million internally displaced persons in 5 regional states. The Commission said it has submitted its reports and a recommendation to the relevant authorities and released statement to the media. With regard to persons denied of their human rights, the Commission said human rights monitoring was carried out in 82 persons and 270 police stations across the country. Ethiopia Human Rights Commission's Chief Commissioner Daniel Bakala, PhD, told the lawmakers that the civil war in northern Ethiopia, Tigray, Afar, and Amhara states, as well as conflict related to identity questions, requests for self-rule, religion-related conflict, and those related to administrative and border issues in various parts of the country have resulted in deaths, injuries, displacement, and property damage and sexual violence, among others. Daniel noted that although the civil war that started in the Tigray region and subsequently spread to Afar and Amhara regions is now subsiding, it has resulted in damage to infrastructure, including lack of basic services and widespread human rights abuses. He further underlined that although improved humanitarian access was promising, much more remains to be done to ensure that the humanitarian assistance is fully met, basic services were restored, and lasting peace solution and justice were achieved. Ethiopia Human Rights Commission also told the lawmakers to pay due attention to the growing public grievances over the provisions of various special and government services and to closely monitor the country's economic deterioration and rising cost of living because they pose heightened danger threat to human rights. Describing the Commission's work on institutional building, Rakib Masala, Ethiopia Human Rights Commission Deputy Commissioner, recalled that the Commission has been recognized under the Paris Principles, has fulfilled its responsibility receiving a status in the last 10 months. Credit again at this standard. So that's still we appreciate, but even though it's organized, funded by Ethiopian government, sometimes they are biased in their reporting, sometimes they are silent. So that's the situation, very serious situation in Ethiopia, but reporting to the Prosperity Party officials doesn't make any sense. Just it's meaningless anyway. A statement by President Biden on Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan election as a president of the United Arab Emirates. I congratulate my long-time friend Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan on his election as a president of the United Arab Emirates. As I told Sheikh Mohammed yesterday during our phone call, the United States is determined to honor the memory of the late President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan by continuing to strengthen the strategic partnership between our countries over the coming months and years. The United Arab Emirates is an essential partner of the United States. Sheikh Mohammed, whom I met with several times as a vice president when he was the crown prince of Abu Dhabi, has long been at the forefront of building this partnership. I look forward to working with Sheikh Mohammed to build from this extraordinary foundation to further strengthen the bond between our countries and peoples. So that's credit White House briefing room. On the same subject, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed also expressed his congratulations to this newly elected president of United Arab Emirates. This is a tweet. I congratulate my brother, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the United Arab Emirates, on his election as a president of the state. With my sincere wishes for progress and prosperity under under the wise leadership of His Highness. So that's HA Prime Minister expressing his congratulations to United Arab Emirates. We know they are very close friends, and all the funding and the drones is coming from that country. So he should express. This is also from the Prime Minister or congratulating some recognized individuals. Congratulations to the true sons of Africa, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina and Dr. Petiro Saline on being conferred honorary doctorate degree by Addis Ababa University, a recognition well deserved for your great contribution to the field of economics and engineering. HE Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. So that's also recognizing a couple of individuals for receiving honorary degree from Addis Ababa University for their contribution in economics and engineering. Okay, that's all on reading. Let's continue on a couple of videos and end today's presentation. Okay, the first one is Somalia election.
Sharif Ahmed was president of Somalia once before, and he wants to be president again. His government was credited with developing Somalia's constitution and building the national army after the central government collapsed in 1991. It was criticized for corruption.
I want to build a government that gives equal rights to all the Somali people and provides security and justice to the Somali people.
He's more known for trying to include all political factions than for specific policies. Sheikh Sharif is widely seen as one of the strongest contenders. He's one of 39 candidates who have registered. Their posters line this street in Mogadishu. One of them will go on to lead a government that doesn't control much of Somalia beyond here, the capital. Swathes of the countryside are controlled by the armed group Al-Shabaab. Somalis don't even get to vote in this election. It's members of parliament who will elect the president, and the members of parliament were selected by clan representatives. Everyone familiar with the process says it's been marred by vote buying and corruption. Another former president, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, is in the running and also widely seen as a possible winner. When he was in office, UN investigators said private individuals embezzled vast sums of money from the central bank. Once a peace activist, he's known as a negotiator and says he'll mend the rifts between Somalia's federal states. Incumbent President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo is running again. He's lost support in parliament. His opponents say he's divisive, made Somalia's armed conflicts worse, and brought economic decline. He's promising change. Hassan Ali Khairi was Prime Minister under Farmajo until they fell out. He's also a prominent contender. The final outcome of the vote depends on who ends up supporting who.
It's very difficult to predict, potential alliances at this stage. I think a lot of backroom deals and under-the-table deals are happening as we speak, and they'll continue to happen until the 11th hour. Just before dawn on Sunday morning, they'll continue to make deals.
Members of Parliament will vote on Sunday in a series of up to 3 rounds in the safety of Mogadishu's green zone, far removed from most Somalis. The region's worst drought in decades is just one of the many challenges faced by millions of people and by Somalia's next leader. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Mogadishu, Somalia.
I now give the floor to Mr. Khaled Kiari.
Madam President, members of the Security Council, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, has intensified the pace of its launches using ballistic missile technology. Indeed, It has launched more missiles in the past 5 months than in the prior 2 years combined. On 4 May, the DPRK launched a missile using ballistic missile technology, which covered a range of 470 kilometers and reached an apogee of 780 kilometers. It was launched from the Sunan area near Pyongyang. The DPRK launched the ballistic missile of possible intercontinental range from the same location on 24 March. The DPRK launched another missile on 7 May, possibly from a submarine, which reportedly covered a range of 600 kilometers and reached an apogee of 60 kilometers. The DPRK did not issue public information on any launch, or did it issue airspace or maritime safety notifications. Madam President, the Secretary General strongly condemns the DPRK's continued development of missiles using ballistic missile technology. Such actions are clear violation of relevant Security Council resolutions and contribute to increasing tensions in the region and beyond. It should be recalled that the Security Council in Resolution 2397 reaffirmed its decisions that the DPRK shall not conduct any further launches using ballistic missile technology. Madam President, there have been other troubling developments since our last briefing on 25 March. On 16 April, the DPRK carried out its first launch of a system it characterized as intended for use in quote, tactical nuclear operations, end quote. The system in question covered a range of 110 kilometers. Developing such systems was among the core defense development tasks for the 2021 to 2025 period set forth during the 8th Party Congress of the Korean Workers' Party in January 2021. The DPRK leader also made statement on 25 April and again on 30 April that Pyongyang could preemptively use its nuclear weapons. Statements of this nature are deeply concerning. Finally, there are indications of resumed construction activities at the Panguri nuclear test site, which was declared shut down in 2018. Madam President, these developments all relate to the DPRK's continuing pursuit of its nuclear program. While some states continue to rely on nuclear weapons in their security policies, nuclear weapons pose an existential threat to humanity. Their existence heightens the risk of unintended escalation or miscalculation. We must strengthen our efforts to eliminate nuclear weapons. We have consistently conveyed our concerns to the DPRK. The DPRK, by continuing to pursue its nuclear weapons program, including its development of missiles using ballistic missile technology, however, continues to defy the repeated demands of the Council to cease such activities. Madam President, the Secretary General reaffirms his commitment to working with all parties for sustainable peace and the complete and verifiable denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. He urges the DPRK to comply with the decisions of the Council, reset the course to dialogue, and build on previous diplomatic efforts. Further, the United Nations welcomes and encourages the regular contact and cooperation among the key parties regarding the Korean Peninsula. We commend the parties for their willingness to engage in dialogue with the DPRK without preconditions. Madam President, the Secretary General reiterates the importance of addressing the critical humanitarian needs of people in the DPRK. The United Nations remain engaged and stands ready, along with its humanitarian partners, to assist people in need in the DPRK, whose vulnerability has likely increased since the pandemic outbreak and border closure in 2020. We reiterate our call for the entry of international staff, including the United Nations Resident Coordinator, and the unimpeded entry of humanitarian supplies to allow for a timely and effective response. We also acknowledge the work of member states toward resolving the banking channel for humanitarian operations and emphasize the growing urgency of its conclusion. Madam President, let me close by reiterating that the unity of the Security Council in this matter is essential to ease tensions, overcome the diplomatic impasse, and avoid a negative action-reaction cycle. Thank you.
I thank Mr. Chiari for his briefing.
Okay, that's United Nations Security Council briefing on DPRK or North Korean nuclear uh, testing and repeated testing, and about also the danger the nuclear power pose to all of us. So that's a discussion, but North Korea repeatedly, ignore all the calls to stop, not to test these ballistic missiles and other rockets. They are still doing it, and the global war community is warning us. It's a danger, uh, dealing with a nuclear power, and just testing it is a very dangerous escalation, and against the United Nations Security Council. So I hope the North Korea will listen and do something. So let's conclude. So I just worry about the second war coming to the northern part of Ethiopia. I hope it will cool down. Need smart brain to handle it. These people, they don't know how to handle it. They just drum beating for war, more violence and hateful propaganda on their media. So never end. For sure, it's already started. So the global community should pay attention in that area. Also, the ongoing total war in Oromia region, which is ignored by international community. I call on United States, European Union, and others, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, to pay attention, not to ignore what is happening in Oromia, especially on the civilians' deaths. So we need their attention, and this war must end, and this leadership must be accounted for. And I don't know why Ethiopians and the global community just ignoring. The country is in a total chaos, death and destruction, and still ignore. Still, these officials are in power, and no accountability in that country. Very bad. You see the Ethiopia Human Rights Commission report, you see the OFECO report, Amnesty International report, all is talking about a very bad face of Ethiopia. And these individuals are not accounted for. They are still waging a war and, making another war to create death and destruction in that country. So thank you for coming back again. I always appreciate your presence, and please subscribe to my channel, share my videos, like it, and comment on it. So thank you, and be safe, and so long, everyone.